What is old is new again. Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Really Dicey. I'm Manny.
And I'm RJ, and today we're going to review Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, the latest source book from Wizards of the Coast. It contains 8 chapters of adventures, a bit over 220 pages, and a bestiary and some magic items. If the title of this module sounds familiar to you, it's because the first half of this book is based on the entire adventure from the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition starter set.
So, yes, the first 4 chapters were heavily based on an adventure campaign called The Lost Mines of Phandelver that was part of the first 5th edition starter set that is no longer being printed. The current starter set has a totally new adventure called The Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, and I am glad it's being republished because this adventure and the Tyranny of Dragons were great introductory adventures when 5th edition D&D first came out almost 10 years ago. I have run and played this campaign over 10 times at least since The Lost Mines of Phandelver was published. This is the introductory adventure I use for first-time roleplayers who want to play D&D 5e, and I still feel that this adventure has a great set of tools within for dungeon masters. The Goblin Ambush and Hideout scenario in the beginning is a great first adventure, very simple and straight to the point. It's a great start for them to learn combat, skill checks, and role-playing, but it's not an easy game. I've had characters die in these adventures when they aren't careful, so it's definitely challenging. The town of Phandalin, along with the different locations where your adventures take your players, is well mapped, thought out, and most importantly, fun.
Well, after the initial on-ramp chapter, the format of this adventure is a sandbox. It's a series of locations based around a town, and the players have a lot of agency in choosing where to go and when. The content of this adventure is classic D&D, right? Goblins, bugbears, mines, dungeons, and yes, even a dragon. But there's not a lot of humor or whimsy as in some of the other WotC published adventures. It's pretty straightforward.
However, the first 4 chapters of Phandelver and Below are not a reprint of the Lost Mines of Phandelver adventure from the starter set. It's an expansion and a revision. You now get more art and more maps. Certain instances are similar, but not the same. For example, there's an area in the Goblin's hideout where you find 3 goblins there, and they changed it to 3 goblins and 2 wolves. So be wary, Dungeon Masters, if you played this module before. You may want to reread it again before running it. The layout and organization of this book is improved, and honestly, is one of my favorite things about this book. Let's talk about the last 4 chapters. The last 4 chapters are completely new materials of adventures, maps, and enemies. The Lost Mine adventure, the first 4 chapters, your characters start at level 1 and end at level 5, and the last 4 chapters are level 5 to level 8. I'll try not to be spoilery, but what I'm excited the most about the last 4 chapters is that it is a fantastic resource if you're looking to add mind flayers into your stories. These new adventures begin after the events of the Wave Echo Cave, where psychic goblins attack Phandalin looking for redacted, and players need to find out the reasons why and stop them before Phandalin is destroyed. Mind flayers are involved in these adventures, and I love what they did with them. Mind flayers may be my second favorite Underdark monster, Drowls being the first, and they really expanded into variant versions, what their habitats are like, and some really creative dungeons to explore. I feel like if you're introducing D&D to new players, you have to bring out the classics like Mind Flayers, Dragons, Beholders, and it's great to see Mind Flayers as a threat again. What do you think of the new Phandelver adventures, RJ?
The second half of the book is also sandbox, right, based around the same town, but with different points of interest. But now it turns into an alien horror story, starting with the Mind Flayers, the Underdark, and escalating until you find yourself in a far realm in a giant brain and challenging a godlet. Intelligence saving throws galore, and it sets a new record for using the word moist. It really is alien horror. You've been warned. There are 17 new monsters in the bestiary, most of which are specializations or mutations of well-known monsters. So, for example, the Mind Flayer Clairvoyant and the Mind Flayer Prophet. And there are 12 new magic items. And I really like the Mind Crystals. When you cast a spell that takes 1 action to cast, you can expend a mind crystal that you're holding to do whatever that mind crystal can do. There are several types, and they're similar to the sorcerer's meta magic. So, for example, the quickened mind crystal, the spell's casting time becomes one bonus action for this casting. But you can't stack any of these with a meta magic option. It is an interesting way to get meta magic effects into different spellcasting classes. There are also a couple of opportunities in this adventure to earn divine blessings. Now, these blessings are pretty incredible, but you really have to earn them in the story, and there aren't sufficient hints given to the player characters to steer them in the right direction. So, your DM may need to provide some clues here.
In conclusion, I think this is a fantastic book. I'm happy that the original Phandelver adventure will be available still for new and old players, since it is no longer the adventure you get in the starter set. I'm very happy with how they expanded it. It's not just more dungeons, more monsters. They really thought through with these adventures with very interesting NPCs and subplots in each adventure that involve role playing.
Yeah, there's a lot of kidnapping happening in this book. Everybody's getting kidnapped all the time. This town needs Liam Nielsen. Hopefully, rescuing kidnapped victims is motivating to your players. Overall, I think this is a fine adventure. The first half is classic D&D and would work for almost any playgroup. However, the second half is alien horror and it's not short. So make sure that's something that your players will enjoy.
So thank you everyone for watching. I do want to point out that the holidays are now approaching us, and the best gift you can give us is to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Unless you prefer to give us money then, who are we to tell you what you should do? Take care everyone, and be safe.